This is former All-Pro Dolphin lineman Richmond Webb, and you're listening to The Grueling Truth.
Welcome to Week 6 of The Grueling Truth's NFL Weekly Pick'em Show, brought to you by Gridiron Mo. I'm your host, Mike Goodpaster, and I want to welcome in first, as we always do, our biggest loser of the week, Mark Cooper. How you doing, Mark? You were 8-7 last week.
Well, God, you know what? It was a tough week. We took some lumps.
Well, it was a tough week for you. Everybody else did pretty good, though.
Well, they had cheat sheets or something. I don't know.
Well, it happened last week, too, Coop. And you know what? I'm not the one tweeting how I'm going to whip everybody's ass on the show either on a Saturday afternoon.
I just said I had this week. I was talking about this week, not last week.
Oh, okay. You meant next week, not the week we were in. I understand that.
Exactly.
I don't know how I missed that, Coop.
Yeah, well, you guys east of the Mississippi, you miss a lot.
Yeah, because we live here in the Middle East. It actually is more in the middle. I don't know. It's confusing. If you didn't listen last week, you have no clue what we're talking about, so go listen to last week's. All right, next up, 9-6 last week. He didn't do great, but he was a lot better than Coop. Brian Schmidt.
Well, I did do better than Coop, but I'm still disappointed in my 9-6. So.
All right, and next up we have got a man who has done fairly well every week, but has never won in the 5 weeks we've had the show. He was 10-5 this week. Aaron Zepnick. How you doing, Aaron?
Good. How you doing, Mike? I'm happy with 10-5, making strides. I'll win one of these weeks coming up here, hopefully this week.
All right, and then I was 10-5. I've got nothing to say. My Bengals suck. Next up, Matt Andruscavage, who was our big winner of the week. Matt, it's kind of like when the Niners win. It doesn't happen very often, but you got to be happy with it.
I'm very happy with my picks. It's better than what my team's doing right now, so I'll take it.
Well, actually, we're all in that boat right now, except for, I guess, Brian and Aaron. All right, Coop, what was your big takeaway? What stood out to you week 5 of the NFL season?
The Atlanta Falcons are a lot better football team than I gave them credit for, because their offensive line absolutely dominated our defense, the Broncos' defensive line, and I think they outcoached the Broncos in the first half, going into about the third quarter, before they figured out trying to get guys covered underneath, and the linebackers were dropping deep as all get out. But the bottom line was that offensive line. Matter of fact, the left tackle, Vaughn, should be ashamed, because he didn't even get anywhere near the football. I think he had 2 tackles the entire game, and that's not what you expect from a big player like that. So my hat is off to the offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons, because they played some incredible football last week.
Yeah, and I think the big thing there is the Falcons have been a good team over the last 5 or 6 years. You had the one bad year at the end of Mike Smith's tenure. But I think the thing that Quinn brings them is I think that team is just a lot physically and mentally tougher, which I don't think they were when Smith was there.
Yeah, I was just impressed overall. We held Julio Jones down, but I tell you what, everybody else just absolutely filled in and like shark toothed up, you know what I mean, and played a hell of a football game.
All right, Matt.
The Atlanta Falcons were definitely one of the things that stood out to me. I thought Tampa Bay played a pretty good game last night in Carolina. Tampa Bay is one of those teams we talked about early on that probably would have a real shot at the playoffs. But I thought they had a nice bounce back week. But I think the obvious one is Minnesota. They look real good right now.
All right, Aaron.
Well, you're not going to like this, Mike, but I was actually very impressed with how Dallas's offensive line.
Why wouldn't I like that? I was impressed with it too. I don't like it because that's what I was going to bring up. But go ahead.
But I thought the Bengals would give them a much better game, and with Geno Atkins and Dunlap, I thought they would have a little bit more of an impact on the game than they did. I thought Ezekiel Elliott, I don't see any signs of this guy slowing down. I'm pretty nervous with them coming into Green Bay this Sunday, and number one run defense against a number one run offense should be a good matchup. So.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, if Jerry Jones doesn't screw this up by replacing Dak Prescott, that team can be really dangerous. And the thing to me was the Cincinnati Bengals, my big takeaway is it's time for Marvin Lewis to go. And the other thing that's a big takeaway is everybody keeps saying how deep the Bengals roster is. It was last year, but you lose Sanu, you lose Jones. I mean, they've lost Reggie Nelson. I don't think this team is anywhere as talented as people are saying. Plus, I think there's a little bit of hangover from the Pittsburgh playoff game last year. Brian, since I said Pittsburgh, you're next up.
Yeah, everybody really kind of took, being the last one here, everybody kind of took all mine. I was impressed with Dallas, impressed with the Falcons. I really.
I know Aaron took mine, too. Doesn't that piss you off when you got something to say and some other guy comes in and says it?
So, I mean, really what it comes down to is does anybody want to go play quarterback in Cleveland? Because I'm pretty sure that that's not a place to go play quarterback at all.
Hasn't been forever.
No, I think there's a curse going on there because it's a little scary. But I was impressed with Dallas, impressed with Atlanta. Obviously, the Monday night game, Tampa Bay, was impressed there. I think we're starting to see, and I think we'll start to see in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll start to really see who's going to be the upper echelon, who's going to be that next level, who's going to be playing for draft choices. I think we're starting to see that separation a little bit. I think we'll start to see it over the next 3 or 4 weeks even more.
Yeah, because you always got teams that start off hot that look like they're going to be something, turn out not to be. You get a team like Kansas City last year that I think started out 1-6, go on a winning streak, and end up being in the playoffs at the end of the year. But we'll start off with Coop, his Denver Broncos at the San Diego Chargers Thursday night.
I think the Broncos will bounce back. Chargers, the Chargers have played actually well in every game they've played in and just found a way to lose. So, but you can hear that frustration in Rivers when he talks about it, and that I think that's somewhat affected the team a little bit. And I think Wade Phillips will get these guys so coached up and motivated. I think they'll be all over Rivers and get him flustered and frustrated, and he won't have as good a game as maybe he's had. But I'm taking the Broncos over the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going to too. I mean, I'm inclined by as bad as Denver played to take San Diego. And unlike you, I think Rivers is a really good quarterback. But for some reason, this team over the last couple of years seems like they're in every game but can't seem to finish it. So I'm not going to go with them. I just don't see how you can just because of that history. Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I want to go with San Diego. I mean, I like Denver, but the way Denver played, I want to go with San Diego, but I got to go with Denver as well. I just think that they're going to right the ship and get a win out of this.
All right, Aaron Zepnick.
I'm going Denver. I don't see them having 2 subpar performances in a row. Also, with Gary Kubiak's health, I think they'll play some inspired football, bounce back, and San Diego's offensive line is nowhere near as good as Atlanta's.
Yeah, and I don't know, Coop. I don't think that last week so much that Denver had a subpar performance. I think Atlanta just played really well, and Denver had a rookie quarterback.
He played like a rookie is the problem. And, I mean, Sombrero had some issues. Offensive line had 4 sacks. The 2 of them were really quarterback sacks because you just can't get back there and pump it and look around. I mean, you got to drop back, get into your 3 seconds, going into your 4, have made your reads and get rid of the football or get out of there. And he didn't do that a couple of times, and I think that that hurt us a little bit. And we did. Sombrero is a young kid, got his first kind of start at the tackle spot. They had him at guard. He's been hurt, beat up. They pulled him, put Schofield out there. He got beat once. But, like I said, I think they just got out-coached, too, for a half, a little over half.
All right, Matt, Denver at San Diego.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Denver as well. I think what Denver does well is they get pressure on the quarterback. They take away a lot of the options. Phillip Rivers has lost two of his biggest weapons, and I know Antonio Gates has been banged up. What I think Denver can do in this game is to take pressure off the rookie quarterback. They can keep the score low, which should play to their strengths. If they can get after Phillip Rivers, they should be able to slow the offense down, which really is all that San Diego has. I just don't think they have much of a defense. So I think Denver can keep this to a low-scoring game and win it.
All right, the next game, Philadelphia at Washington. Brian?
I'm going to go with Washington. I'm going to go with Washington. I think it'd be somewhat of an upset, but I'm going to go with Washington. I just as good as Philadelphia played the first 3 weeks, I think they're coming back down a little bit, and I have a feeling I think Washington is going to win this one.
All right, Matt.
I'm going to go with Philadelphia. I watched a good chunk of the Philadelphia Lions game. I think the Lions just played really good ball at home. Philly still had the game won, and it was just a really good play by Slay to knock that ball out. Otherwise, Philly wins the game, and we're talking about an undefeated Eagles team. To me, Washington had a very fortunate victory. If it wasn't for a really bizarre play by their linebacker with not being able to put the ball in the end zone on the pick six, Baltimore probably wins that. I think Washington got a very inspired win, but I don't think that's going to carry over. I think Philadelphia wins this game.
All right, Coop.
Matt took a lot of my material, so I don't have a lot to say other than I agree with Matt, and I think Philadelphia wins this game. It's going to be that's almost turned into an NFC East rivalry to some degree, and I like Philadelphia in that game.
Yeah, I like Philadelphia too. I just don't think Washington's going to be able to run the ball on them. They're going to be forced to throw. I think Philadelphia is the more complete team. I'm going with the Eagles. Aaron?
I'm going with the Eagles, too. I think they bounce back after letting one slip away at Detroit. And, the Redskins, I'm just not convinced that they're where they need to be to compete in that division yet. So.
All right. Aaron, Rams at Detroit.
I'm going with the Rams. I think the Rams are underrated. I mean, they're playing pretty competitive ball. I think Detroit is at home, but I'm not convinced that they can play consistent. I'm going with the Rams.
A couple weeks ago, you said they were going to make the playoffs.
Said who was going to make the playoffs?
You said Detroit would.
I said they could.
Oh, well, anybody could. I'm going to go with
this matchup for them.
I'm going to go with Detroit. I don't like the matchup for the Rams because I don't think the Rams have enough offense to score with Stafford at home. I think Marvin Jones will have a field day. I don't think this Rams team's that good. I mean, I still don't buy that they're that good of a football team. I'm going with Detroit. Brian?
Going with Detroit as well. I think I agree. I don't think the Rams are, that complete of a team. And I like Detroit at home. I feel like Detroit, well, they're not a great team. They have potential. And I think the next 2-3 weeks will kind of tell us where Detroit's going to be. So I'm going to go with Detroit on this one.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I like Detroit in this game too. I think Detroit is better coached than they have been. I think Stafford is playing a little bit better ball, being able to spread it around. Not a huge impact, but they did pick up Justin Forsett. I think that'll be interesting to see how that goes to pair him with Theo Riddick and get a little bit more out of the ground game. I just like the offense. I like Ebron. I like Bolden and Golden Tate and Marvin Jones. I think they can give teams headaches, and I think their defense is playing a little bit better than maybe what we thought. They're kind of like New Orleans and Indianapolis. They don't play real well on the road. They're not consistent, but at home they're dangerous. I think they can win this game.
All right, Coop.
You know, boy, every time I pick against the Rams, I lose. So I want to pick the Rams, but I'm not gonna. You know, the Lions. You know, the reason I wasn't picking the Lions early on. I mean, Green Bay beat them, Chicago beat them, then they beat Philadelphia. I think they kind of are winding up. Stafford played really well last week. I think he's kind of now getting in the groove. So I'm going to go with the Lions.
All right, next game, Carolina at New Orleans. I'll start this one off. I'm going to go with New Orleans. They're in the Dome. Drew Brees is a lot better quarterback in the Dome than he is out of the Dome. The Panthers are 1-4. I know the Saints are too, but I think the Saints have probably been more competitive in their 5 games than the Panthers have been. So I'm going with the Saints. What do you think, Aaron?
I'm going with the Saints at home, coming off a bye week. They're actually 1-3. I think Drew Brees at home. Who knows if Cam Newton's playing, but even if he plays, I think that Carolina team's having trouble on defense. I think they're having a lot of trouble on offense. I don't see them beating Drew Brees in the Dome.
All right, Coop.
I'm going with the Saints as well. I mean, after the Buccaneers put a whooping on them, and I picked against them last week, I'm going with the Saints at home. I just with a bye week and Drew Brees, like you say, guys, I'm kind of in the same mode as you are at home in the Dome. I think he's going to be tough to beat because they have been playing more consistently better, even though they've lost a number of games. So I'm going with the Saints.
All right, Brian.
I'm going with the Saints as well. I just think Carolina is nowhere near a team they were last year, and we talked about that early on. I mean, last year was a dream season, and I don't think that team last year was near as good as they ended up. And again, I think they've kind of come back down. And New Orleans at home is just such a different team. So I think you got to go with New Orleans on this one.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Saints too. I'm kind of conflicted on it, but I just haven't been big on. I wasn't big on Carolina last year. I thought they did a lot of things well, but a lot of those bounces and those things, those intangibles from last year have just not carried over. The defense is not getting near the pressure. I think they got problems on the back end with the rookie corners. The magic just isn't there. And if this was in Carolina, I'd say, maybe Carolina pull this out. But, man, Drew Brees in the Dome is just they're just a different team there. So I'll go with the Saints.
All right, Brian, we got a tough one for you here. Pittsburgh at Miami.
The way Pittsburgh's playing the last 2 weeks, it's kind of hard to go against them. So definitely going to be Pittsburgh, and really sets up a win this week. Really sets up a big one against New England.
Where do they play that one at?
Pittsburgh.
Okay, you probably screwed either way, but you never know. A lot better to play them at home than it is away. Matt.
Yeah, obviously the Steelers should win. The Dolphins are almost as bad as Cleveland. They got problems all over the place, especially at quarterback. Pittsburgh, that could be the best offense in football right now. Le'Veon Bell back, Sammy Coates, if he emerges, you talk about a replacement for Bryant this year. I like their offense a lot. Very deep. They got weapons all over the place. And as they keep Big Ben healthy, they're in the AFC Championship for sure.
All right. Aaron.
Yeah, I'm going with Steelers. Tannehill's not playing very well at all. Dolphins' defense isn't very good. I'm going with Steelers on the road.
All right, Coop.
Steelers. I mean, the Dolphins can't even score. I mean, they just can't score points. They're giving them up on defense too, and they're 1-4 and struggling. And it's just a bad situation in Miami. They had some high hopes early, but they've been dashed. I think they're pretty much done.
All right, I'm going to go with Pittsburgh also, because even if Miami can score points, they're not going to be able to score enough. I mean, I think the most they could possibly humanly score is 24, and I don't think their defense can keep Pittsburgh below 30, to tell you the truth. So I think it'll get ugly. Next game, Kansas City at Oakland. Aaron.
I'm going with the Raiders at home. I like the direction this team's taken with Jack Del Rio, and their offense is scary good as well. Even with Latavius Murray out last week, they still had some production from Jalen Richard and Washington. So Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree on the outside. I think they'll take care of business. If this was at Kansas City, I'd pick the Chiefs, but I'll go with Oakland at home.
All right, I would actually pick Oakland, I think, either place. I just think they're a better team, so I'm going to go with the Raiders. Coop, I know you're a big fan of both of these teams.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. You know, these rivalry. This is. I mean, that's the AFC West is almost a rivalry division, in that. I mean, none of these guys like each other. The Raiders have just really come on. The Raiders are playing well. Kansas City again is one of those teams that just hasn't found their identity yet in the DNA. So. You know, and this is another one of those where, you know, I mean, even the Chargers played them tough, but the Raiders pulled it out, and so I got to go with the Raiders.
All right, Brian.
Got to go with the Raiders as well. I really like that team. I've watched them a few times. I like what I'm seeing. You know, is this a Super Bowl team this year? I don't think so, but they're certainly building. And I like where this team is going, so I definitely got to go with the Raiders.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, Raiders at home. I like, even though Kansas City's rested after a bye week, I think the Raiders can really limit Kansas City's offense, and they can put points up. So I think the Raiders should win this.
All right, the next game, Coop. Maybe the game of the week, Jacksonville at Chicago. You want to pick it?
You know, this is a coin flip game, but you know, this is a tough one for me. And you know how much I love Chicago. This might be the only game I pick the Bears all year long. I'm going with the Bears this week.
All right, Matt.
I want to go with the Bears. I like what I see out of the offense. They're just a little bit rejuvenated. I like Jordan Howard. I think Brian Hoyer gives them a little bit more stability at quarterback. He's just a little bit more efficient than Cutler. Doesn't make a lot of bad throws, but Jacksonville rested. I think this is their last gasp. Bears just really are not good at home. I realize a lot of that was with Cutler, but I'm going to pick the Jaguars in a not so pretty game.
All right, I'm going to agree with Matt. I think the Jaguars have a lot of weapons. I think Chicago won't be able to keep up scoring-wise, but I also agree with Coop. I still think it's a coin toss game, similar to that Chicago-Detroit game a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to go with the Jaguars. Aaron, I know you're a big Bears fan.
I'm going Jags as well. I have no faith in the Bears to play.
I have no faith in either one of them, Aaron.
No faith here either.
I don't either, but Hearns and Robinson are pretty good. I think they'll get the running game going. Ivory's back healthy now, or healthier, and I like Jacksonville coming off a bye.
Yeah, you nailed the exact reason I picked it was Hearns and Robinson.
Yeah,
and they're going to be hard to stop. There's not too many better wide receiver combos in the NFL. But who we got? Who's left out? Brian. We don't want to leave you behind.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jags as well. I think that, as you said, too many weapons, and the Bears. You know, I have no faith in either team, but you know, if I had a gun to my head and had to pick one, I got more faith in the Jags than I do the Bears. So. It's a pretty easy pick.
All right, Matt, the Dallas Cowboys at the Green Bay Packers.
I think it's be a good game. I think this is going to be the first time in a while that Green Bay faced a first-string running back. So while their front seven's playing very well, I think this is the first real test for that defense. Dallas has a real good offensive line. Ezekiel Elliott is leading the league in rushing. Dak Prescott does not make bad throws. And I don't really like Green Bay's offense right now. I think it's lethargic. I think it's predictable. And the only thing that's leading me to pick Green Bay is that they're at home. So I think this is a really tight game. But Dallas doesn't have Dez Bryant. I think Green Bay will win this in a close game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas pulled it off.
All right. Coop.
Ooh, this is another one of those coin toss games for me. I like both of these teams a lot, especially the way Dallas beat up on the Bengals last week. But the Packers beat the Giants well too. So boy, this is a tough one for me to pick. I mean, I love the offensive line of the Cowboys. I like the way Green Bay's played. I mean, if you stack them up next to each other, they stack up real well. So I'm just going to go with I'm going to go with Dallas only because I like their offensive line better, and I think they'll run the ball well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with the Cowboys. I don't think Green Bay's defensive line is that good. I know a lot of people are number one against the rush, but as we said, they haven't really faced a running game yet. And I think the Cowboys are by far the best offensive line in football. Prescott doesn't make mistakes, doesn't turn the ball over, even on the road he hasn't this year. I like the Cowboys to win this game. Aaron?
I'm going with the Packers at home. I think Dez Bryant being out is a huge X factor. The Giants receivers, I expected to have a big game against the Packers last week with their top two corners out, and that didn't happen either. So I think the Packers defense is better than people give them credit for just because they haven't faced, Adrian Peterson for a whole game, and, they can't fault who's on their schedule. So,
you can't fault who's on the schedule, but you also can't just say you get the number one run game when you've played nobody.
Well, Adrian Peterson played for a good portion of the Sunday night game. And
what was that, Matt?
That's the only one. That's the only thing they played because Detroit backup running back, Giants third string running back.
But Detroit's backup running back just had a pretty good week, 2 touchdowns against Philadelphia, who was undefeated. So I mean, you can't say that they haven't played NFL caliber players because they have.
Was
so
the guy that was against
my biggest thing is this: with the Giants, their offensive line is crap. I mean, the Vikings' offensive line's not that good. I mean, the problem here is you got Ezekiel Elliott and Alfred Morris. You got a dominant offensive line, a quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over. And with the Giants are one-dimensional because of that third-string running back. Detroit's one-dimensional because of their backup running back. And even if you're missing DBs, it's a lot easier when you know pretty much what the play is going to be, run or pass, to begin with.
True, but I don't think that Dallas will be able to throw the ball a lot, and I think that the Packers will stack the box and try to stop the run, and they'll force Dak Prescott into making throws to beat him, and I don't think that Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley are going to do that.
All right, Brian. Oh, go ahead. Well, I sure you said you were one of the Packers. Brian.
Yeah, I go back and forth on this one. I'm going to take before when we started this conversation, I was going with Dallas, but I've kind of switched over. I'm going to go with Packers. This is going to be a good test for Dallas. I think it's an even game. I think it's going to be a great test to see, what Prescott can do and what they can do, especially on the road. And I feel like this is also a big game for Green Bay to. I think the one thing with Green Bay is they just haven't jumped out at me. This is a game that's really going to kind of prove where they are as a football team. So, but I think Green Bay is going to win this game.
Yeah, I think people forget with Dallas, their pass defense has been excellent this year. I think Claiborne has been the number one corner for giving up completed balls when balls are thrown towards him. So I think people overlook that also. That brings us to what I think is the game of the week, definitely the most interesting game, the Atlanta Falcons at the Seattle Seahawks. Coop?
Well, after watching them the last week and prior weeks, I'm all over Atlanta Falcons. I really like what I saw with their offensive line. They beat Tampa Bay, beat Oakland. I'm just impressed with this whole group. So I think they'll take Seattle.
Actually, Coop, Atlanta's only loss was to Tampa Bay at home.
Oh, that's right. They did lose to them. Yeah, but that was an opener, though. That was an opener fluke in my view. So they're on a roll, though. I mean, everything I've seen since then has been pretty impressive. I mean, not like Carolina's like a big, they've kind of fallen apart this year. But
and I don't think Tampa Bay is that bad of a team. And I don't think it's an opening game fluke. I just think it's a fluke where Tampa Bay is really talented, but they're really young. So week to week, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Atlanta. I like what I'm seeing in Atlanta. I'm telling you, I was impressed.
Yeah, they're loaded offensively and defensively. Levante David's a hell of a player. Brian, Atlanta at
on
Seattle.
Defense, yeah.
If this was in Atlanta, I'd be all over Atlanta. But last week going to Dallas, this week going to Seattle. Seattle at home is a different team. I got to go with Seattle.
All right, Aaron.
I agree with Brian here. Going out west twice, going to Denver and then now to Seattle, I think that's going to wear on them a little bit. I'm going with Seattle at home.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to take Seattle at home, too. I want Atlanta to win, but I think Seattle's defense is just going to be a little much for Atlanta. I mean, I realize they just played Denver's defense, which is phenomenal, but I don't know. It's hard to do that 2 weeks in a row. I think it's going to be a challenge. I don't know that they're going to get that kind of production out of Tevin Coleman. Richard Sherman on Julio Jones, that's a great matchup. I think Seattle's going to be tough for the Atlanta defense. I think Russell Wilson's just going to be a problem for them. He can move around. He's not going to play like a rookie. And I think Seattle wins this in a close game.
All right. I agree with a lot with what Matt said. I mean, my thing here is this. Last week, Atlanta played Denver. Denver, no matter who's playing quarterback, Seattle doesn't have Trevor Siemian. They had Russell Wilson, who's won a Super Bowl. I think he's an elite quarterback. I think in the end, Seattle's defense and Denver's defense are both very comparable. I'm going to go to back-to-back trips, Russell Wilson instead of Paxton Lynch. I'm going to go with Seattle. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a hard-hitting game. The other thing that scares me is Seattle's offensive line is terrible, but I think Seattle and Denver, I don't know, Coop, what do you think? As teams, I think Seattle and Denver are very comparable, except for at the quarterback position.
That's a good analogy right now.
And so I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. But I think this Atlanta team is really good. It would not surprise me if they went out there and won back-to-back weeks on the West Coast. All right, next up, Aaron, Cleveland at Tennessee.
Boy.
Don't say I never gave you anything.
Boy. Cleveland's got to win a game eventually. I'm not going to pick it correctly because I don't think I'll pick them all year. If I were to pick them, this would be the one. But I'm going with the Titans at home. Marcus Mariota. Cleveland's down to their fourth quarterback now. I don't know that they'll be a top 5 draft choice team for sure.
All right. I'm going to go with Tennessee. I actually like what I've seen from Tennessee this year. I mean, I think offensively they've been pretty good. Defensively, I don't think they've been quite as good as I thought they have been. In the division they're in, though, if they win this game, they're right in the thick of it because as long as Brock Osweiler is in Houston, Houston still doesn't have a quarterback. Plus, they don't have J.J. Watt. The Colts' offensive line's a mess. The Jaguars are the Jaguars. They find a way to screw stuff up right when you think they're figuring it out. I'm going to go with Tennessee. Coop, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going with Tennessee too. It's going to be tough to pick Cleveland all year long. Like I didn't really want to pick Cleveland, but Chicago. So yeah, Tennessee. They've lost some tough games, and they were all close. You know what I mean? So I'm sticking with Tennessee.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, Mike, you said almost everything I wanted to say about it. I think Tennessee not only is going to win this game, but they're going to start turning heads about the discussion about who's going to win the AFC South. I really like Tennessee's offense. I think they've got a lot of good parts on that team. Delaney Walker, DeMarco Murray is probably right now, everyone's talking about Ezekiel Elliott, and he's great. But DeMarco Murray is the most consistent back, and I think he's got the most total yardage. I like Derrick Henry. Mariota is underrated, playing very well last couple weeks, and I don't know that their defense is. If they get to the playoffs, I don't think their defense is going to be able to help them that much. But this division's in shambles, and I think they beat the Browns, and they're going to be in that discussion for the rest of the year, I think.
And I think really they're close to having the most complete team offensively and defensively in the AFC South.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because all the other teams seem to be one-dimensional. Who we got yet? Brian, you didn't get to pick this wonderful game yet, did you?
No, I don't think I really needed to pick this. I think pretty much it's going to be Tennessee. I don't think you can go anywhere else for that really when you're playing Cleveland. So.
All right, Coop, did I ask you yet?
Yep.
All right,
Tennessee.
All right, next game, Cincinnati at New England. I was thinking about just skipping it and see if anybody would notice. Coop, get it over with. I said nothing bad about your team all night either. I'm trying to show that I have a little bit of class, unlike the people that vote the president in this country.
Patriots.
The Patriots? Do you have a reason?
Well, you said not to bash you. I got a ton of reasons.
I didn't say not to bash me.
He said not to bash all you want. Bash him.
Mike, you got to give him credit.
Nice.
He's trying. He's
right.
meeting you halfway.
That's just because his team got their ass kicked too this week.
Oh, see, look at you. Look, you jump right on that bandwagon, all right?
What bandwagon is that?
You jump on my team when you said you were trying to be nice. I was trying to be nice.
Yeah, I just said that the reason you were being nice is because your good team got their ass whipped too.
Well,
I just said they both got their ass whipped. I don't think that's really jumping on you.
This is becoming a habit for the Bengals, so get used to it.
It's going to be a habit for Denver too.
Nah.
And I want to see Phillip Rivers throw for 5 million yards this week. Brian.
As much as I really would love to pick the Bengals, I can't. Can't pick against New England.
Not with Brady, especially.
No, not with Brady. And I mean, even next week, it's going to be hard for me to pick Pittsburgh. Although
and Pittsburgh is the more talented team, but the Brady-Belichick thing is just hard to pick against.
Yeah, I said this. I've made comparisons with New England on our CFL show. I've said this even in our Steelers show. I mean, this when you talk about New England, I mean Brady and Belichick, but to me it's like 60% Belichick. I mean, he could go find 53 guys on the street and somehow figure out a way to win. He just is that kind of coach. To me, I mean, he definitely would be, in my top tier of coaches in NFL history. I mean, I don't know, Lombardi and Belichick. I mean, after that, I mean, who do you got after that?
Well, I think
I don't think you can even put Lombardi in that bracket.
What was that?
I don't think you can put Lombardi even in his bracket.
No, just because of the free agency.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get to have Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor in your backfield for 7 straight years. You're going to lose
exactly.
One.
You also don't get to call JFK to get Hornung and Nitschke out of the war.
Yeah.
Get them in the 61 championship game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing deal of what they've got, and I just feel like it's hard to pick against New England at any time. When they lose, it's a surprise. So
yeah, and you're to the point now when Garoppolo's healthy and Brady retires, you think it's just going to continue for another decade.
Yeah.
You want to hear something? Let me throw something in real quick, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I was talking to Dan Graham, who played tight end there. And this is like a year or two ago. Dan Graham said Belichick would walk down the hall, right? And if he sees you in the hall, he'll say, okay, on this down distance, it's a blitz package, cover, to this play. What are you going to do? I mean, he will flat out stop a guy in the middle of the hall and test him. and he does it to everybody all the time, is what Dan Graham said. He says, man, those guys are so scared to death to not have the right answer that they live in their playbooks.
All right. But I would throw Joe Gibbs, Bill Walsh, and Paul Brown in with those two.
Yeah.
And Chuck Noll, who I think is very underrated.
Yeah.
People forget the Pittsburgh Steelers were terrible the first 40 years of their existence until they got Chuck Noll. So.
True. Yeah, Chuck Noll was phenomenal. To me, Bill Walsh was the best offensive mind. Lombardi was probably the best motivator, but Bill Belichick is probably the greatest overall coach in the league history.
Yep. Sid Gilman was the greatest offensive mind. But Aaron,
no.
Me and Matt have this argument all the time, and there's no use to do it here.
Sid Gilman had some great long passing concepts.
Here we
Walsh
go.
Changed
Here
football.
we go. Whatever. Well, Sid Gilman developed the modern passing game. Bill Walsh just
developed the deep passing game.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Aaron.
Patriots.
All right, Matt.
Oh, yeah. New England's going to win this game.
Yeah, the Bengals' offensive line is terrible. Their defensive line is very good, but the linebackers, Ray Maliuga is so bad it doesn't matter. I mean, most of the damage that was done in last week's Bengals game was because Ray Maliuga is out of position all the time. Carlos Dunlap is a great pass rusher, but he would run straight up the field. The Cowboys would run inside of him. And basically they have no gap control on their defense. Against New England, they're going to get shredded. I'm going to go with the Patriots. There you go. Coop, Indy at Houston.
Houston. Indy's so beat up and tired, I think, and Houston's still got weapons even without J.J. And even though Osweiler, I don't like him because I think he's I won't say the word because our president our coming president.
Yeah, we don't want to do any locker room talk on here.
So, yeah. No, by the way, locker room talk, oh, my God, have I heard so much worse than that. Okay?
Yeah, me too. And the thing that's amazing is all these players, well, I never talk like that in the locker room.
Oh, they're such liars. I mean, how can you – I mean, they must be – you know what? They want to be politicians. They want to be Democrats.
Hey, I can tell you some stuff Brian used to say to our team, and there was lube involved, and it was not pretty.
Oh,
Brian,
yeah.
Indy at Houston with no lube.
It's a lube-free zone.
Yeah.
So lube-free zone, and I got to go with Houston. Indy's beat up, and I think at the end of the day, I think Houston will win this in a close game.
All right, Aaron.
I'm actually going the opposite way. I'm going to go with Indianapolis. I have no faith in Houston right now. Two teams that were much better than the Colts, but Minnesota and New England really shut that offense down, and I don't think the Colts have the arsenal to do that, but I still think they win in a close game. I think Andrew Luck will make enough plays and a little bit more plays than Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, but my only thing here is Houston's defense, even without J.J. Watt, is very good, and the Colts' offensive line is atrocious. I think I didn't pick this yet, so I'll just make that my segue. I'm going to go with Houston also. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Andrew Luck got hot and beat him because, like Aaron said, there's no faith in either one of these teams. They have major holes, especially at quarterback for Houston, but I'm going to go with Houston reluctantly. Matt?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I don't really have any faith in either team. I don't think either team is real good, but Houston's got a pretty good defense. The Colts just don't have much of anything. Yeah, Andrew Luck could get hot, and they could win this game, but I think this is DeAndre Hopkins is going to finally have a good game. He's been held down by some really good defenses. I don't think Indianapolis is going to be able to control him in any way whatsoever. All Osweiler has to do is just get it anywhere near him, and I think he has a huge day. So I'm going to go with Houston.
All right. Did everybody pick that one? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. All right, next game. I'll let Matt pick it, see if he wants to be a homer. San Francisco at Buffalo.
I'd love to be a homer here, but
be a homer. Come on.
No, Buffalo's playing too good. I think Buffalo is quietly making a little bit of a run towards the playoffs. I mean, I realize it's only week 6, but Tyrod Taylor looks good. I think the overall offense is very good. They're good at home. The 49ers are in flux. They're in transition. They're just basically playing, let's evaluate what we got, because there just ain't much. I mean, they're not giving up. There's a lot of the guys are saying there's a lot of football left, but the writing's on the wall. I think Buffalo will win this game, and they're a good football team over there in Buffalo. I don't know how far they'll go, but they're not an easy out, especially at home.
Well, and I think the big thing is I think their defense is playing a lot better than it did last year. Even though they don't have some of the big names they had last year, I think they're playing more as a team. Aaron?
I'm going with the Bills at home. They're tough to beat at home, and like you said, Matt, they're San Francisco's making a transition back into Kaepernick, and I don't think that. I mean, there's a chance that Kaepernick could come in and run all over, but Shady McCoy's been pretty consistent this year. They got Woods and Goodwin that are stepping in Sammy Watkins' absence. I think they'll be fine. I don't think they'll win the division, obviously, with the Patriots in it, but I think they'll be the second best team in the division.
Well, and I'll tell you, with Kaepernick, that does give them a chance to win the game. Not much, maybe at 2% instead of 0%. My only question is, why do you wait till now to go to him when everybody in the world, especially people in Jacksonville, know that Blaine Gabbert cannot be a starting NFL quarterback?
Well, he's been hurt. He's been recovering, and so I know they wanted to give him as long as possible. The thing is, though, is he hasn't played football. He hasn't played a game in like 11 months.
Well, that's
so
still better than Blaine Gabbert, who's played unsuccessfully for 3 or 4 years.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But, it's still, I don't know in this particular game, first game back, that he's just going to light the world on fire. So there's just really no reason to think.
I still have more faith that Kaepernick can do. I mean, Kaepernick is a guy, people forget, that led the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And played really well that year. And, I mean, he's not just a runner. He can stand in the pocket and throw it a little bit. It just seems like when all the stuff with Harbaugh happened, he kind of fell apart too. Coop, San Francisco, Buffalo.
No, Kaepernick's a one-season wonder douchebag. So
actually, it was more than one season.
Please give him 2 seasons,
Buffalo's
but I'll
got
agree with
way
the
more
rest.
tools.
He played really well for a couple of years. I don't care if he stands up, sits down, takes a shit on the field.
I do.
I mean, the guy was a good quarterback for a while. Now the question is, all the off-the-field stuff, does that affect him? Does it make him play better or worse?
It affects the team. It's a distraction, and he's a douchebag. So Buffalo, I hope, hits him in the mouth if he plays or steps on the field. So I'm taking the Bills.
Well, if they hit him in the mouth, isn't that a penalty?
Depends on if they're leading or not.
Are you calling for pure anarchy, Coop?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? Because I'm an anarchist, so we'll get along. All right, Brian, San Francisco at Buffalo.
Got to go with Buffalo. I just don't have a whole lot of faith in San Francisco at this point. And I think Buffalo will win this one. But, again, I don't have a lot of faith in Buffalo either. So
I actually do. I think Buffalo's pretty good. Did they win 10 games last year?
Yeah, but they missed the playoffs, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah, I think them and the Jets both did. All right, everybody picked that one, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Coop got me confused because he started using bad language. Had to mark down what time that was so I could get that douchebag out of the show so we don't sound like illiterate people from the West Coast. Or is it the Mountain West?
Mountain West.
Mountain West, okay.
We're men and
you know what? That
scared.
sounds like a porn star that wears a cowboy hat, smokes a cigar while he does it in a porno. Mountain West.
Oh my God! What's wrong with you?
What? What do you mean? What's wrong with me?
You got a vivid imagination.
Yes, I do. Schmidt will attest to that too. All right, Brian. Baltimore at the Giants.
Oh.
This is one of 2 coin toss games, I think.
Yeah, this is definitely coin toss. But I'm going to go with the Giants being at home, and Baltimore is not won the last couple of weeks. I think the Giants can win this one, and I really have nothing but just a gut feeling, and so I'm going to go with the Giants.
Yeah, I don't know about this one either. Both teams have really good quarterbacks. The thing that strikes me about Baltimore the times I've watched them is they don't have a lot of team speed. At least I don't think they do from what I've seen. I think the Giants, I think Eli Manning has a big day. I think they win the game. Aaron?
Oh, as much as I don't want to, I'm going to agree with you and Brian here and pick the Giants. I think that Eli will bounce back at home. I think he's a different quarterback than he was when he won the Super Bowls, but they just have too many weapons at receiver, and I don't think Baltimore's going to score a lot of points in any game this year.
So why don't you like Green Bay, Aaron?
What's that?
Why don't you like Green Bay? Is it kind of like the Matt thing, and why he doesn't like Green, or you don't? I mean, Matt doesn't like the Packers because the Packers always beat him in the playoffs. Is that the same reason that you don't like the Giants?
I don't dislike the Giants.
Just play along. I'm trying to take a shot at Matt, all right? Come on.
Yeah, I'm just being silent here. I'm letting Mike have his fun.
I don't dislike the Giants. I just dislike Eli Manning. I don't think he's as good as what people think, or I think he's kind of a big baby.
He's won 2 Super Bowls, and one of the second Super Bowl, he threw one of the greatest passes ever thrown down the left sideline to win that game.
And look, I understand anyone can have a good game or a good postseason run, but I just don't think he's consistently one of the top quarterbacks, and he's...
Well, my only rebuke to that would be he had 2 really good postseason runs. Anybody can have one, but I think it takes a little bit better quarterback than that to have 2 of them. I mean, you look, Dan Marino never had 2. Heck, he didn't have 1 complete one. Brett Favre only had 1.
Rodgers.
I mean, Rodgers only had 1. So, I mean, I think that when you can do that twice, I mean, let's face it, Eli Manning's been stuck in a situation with no offensive line for about, 4 or 5 years. The defense got old. I mean, I don't think that it's not that Eli's not playing as good as what he did. I just don't think he's got as much around him, offensive line-wise and defensive-wise, to be able to win.
Well, I picked the Giants, so I don't know why
Because you ripped on Eli Manning, who was the better of the 2 Mannings, because he's a man in the postseason. All right, Coop, Baltimore at the Giants.
You know what? I don't think Baltimore's as good as I thought they were early on. They kind of eked through a few games and haven't beat people that they should have really beat up on, and it's because of the Giants are at home. I'm sticking with the Giants.
Alrighty, Matt.
Yeah, I've been hemming and hawing about this game a little bit from our previous show today, and I think you guys sold me. I think I'm going to go with the Giants at home. I think what it is about Baltimore is when I've watched them, like you said, they don't have a lot of team speed. They don't have a lot of offense, and I don't know that they're going to score a lot in this game. The Giants are a lot better defensively than they get credit for. I thought they played real well on Sunday night defensively, and offensively, I think they're just going to be a little bit better at home. If they only had a run game, I think they'd be a lot better. But I think the Giants will win this game.
All right. We all agree then. And my only question in that game, though, is, I mean, the Giants are playing with a third-string running back. If they can't run the ball at all, I think it's going to be a lot easier, as we saw with Green Bay. I mean, when you don't have to worry about a team running the ball, it's a lot harder to throw the ball down the field. I just think the difference there is that they're at home instead of away. Last game of the week, Aaron, the New York Jets at the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm picking Arizona at home. I think they got some things right this past game, and I think they'll continue that. The Jets just seem like a team that on the road, they didn't play well at Pittsburgh. They didn't play well again, this week, and they're a team that I think is definitely showing its true colors. I think that's a team that could be a contender, but I just don't think they have the firepower offensively. So
all right, Brian.
Yeah, I've got to go with Arizona at home as well. I watching the Jets Sunday and a few times, and just something about them that just don't feel it with them.
There's something missing.
Yeah, there definitely
is. Because really, for 3 quarters, I mean, they go to the fourth quarter in that game, and it's 17-13.
Yeah, but even with even with that,
you never thought they could win the game.
You never thought they could win the game, and you never felt like Pittsburgh really didn't have control of it. It just something missing, and going all the way out to Arizona, and you know, I think you got to go with Arizona on this one.
All right, Coop.
Yeah, Arizona at home. The Jets just aren't firing on all cylinders. You know, and when they beat the Patriots, they made a big deal out of it. But you know, again, you were saying, you know, they were second and third string quarterback, blah blah blah. But you got to take the Cardinals at home.
All right. I think they beat the Bills, Coop.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Bills. Who was I thinking?
I don't know. It's all that Mountain West.
No. Yeah, was it?
Yeah, they beat the Bills like 37-31, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, that was that Thursday night game.
Yeah. Close enough. It's the same division. Let's see. Actually, I've thought about picking the Jets here, and then I decided not to. So, Matt, did you pick this one yet?
Did not. I'm going to pick Arizona. I think you guys nailed it with you look at the Jets, something is missing. I think they've got serious problems on the back end. Revis is slowing down. They've got secondary problems. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is just not the same guy he was last year, especially when, you know, the way he played in the second half of the season. He's just too up and down. And Arizona, with Palmer coming back, I think those receivers are going to be able to get open. David Johnson's going to be able to run. And I think Arizona's going to start looking like Arizona again. The Jets are just probably going to end up going 1-5. I don't see that any way they can win this game.
Yeah, and the thing about the Jets, though, that's really tough, the fact they don't come out of the gate fast, is I don't think that they've played a team yet that won less than 10 games last year, have they?
Good question.
I mean, they've got to have, if not the toughest schedule in football, really close to it. All right, final words, Brian.
You know, again, as I said earlier, I think it's really gonna start the and we talked a lot about this on the Steelers show. We talk about how NFL players tend to look at the schedule in the quarters, so the first 4 games, and the next 4, the next 4, next 4. And I think you're really going to start to see the separation of who's going to be the contenders, who's going to be the teams fighting for playoffs, and who's going to be the teams that are going to be, vying for draft spots. And I think we're going to start seeing that here over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
All right. Speaking of teams that'll be looking for draft spots or trying to get up to the top, Matt, you knew that was coming.
Oh yeah. First word.
Nice setup, Schmitty.
Yeah,
of course, the way my team's going, we might be too pretty soon.
I say you're going to be right there with me, but
I don't think so. But go ahead.
So
I think my team can win at least 6 games, which means we'll have won 5 more than yours. Go ahead.
Okay. I think what I've really liked about the last few weeks are all the games that are going down to the wire, and I think we're going to see a number of games like that again this week. We'll probably see at least a couple upsets that we aren't looking for, but I agree. I think overall this is where we start seeing some separation, and it's the picture will become clearer.
All right, Aaron.
Not much to say. You guys pretty much said it all. I think we're in for another good week of some close football games and start separating the men from the boys.
Coop.
Well, we've got a short week because the Broncos play on Thursday out here, so that'll be kind of interesting to me to see the way they bounce, whether they do or not bounce back.
So is Simeon completely healthy, or?
Well, no. Here's a rumor. Sure. Rumor has you know how the NFL is. They're not going to say anything. And a guy put Simeon on the spot and asked him if he heard he had a 3rd-degree separation, and he never answered the question. So that kind of makes you tend to think he probably did. And I'm not sure you'll see him this week if that's the case, unless he shot up.
So can I change my pick right now before the show's over?
I think that defense. Wade's been around forever, so I think Wade will put so much pressure on Rivers it may not even matter, and I think they'll manage that game a little bit better with Paxton in there. The front will, I think the offensive line will get firmed up a little bit more. But like I said, it'll be a kind of interesting short week to see the adjustments they make. I love the NFL and football in general just because I love watching, one team get out coached and see how quickly they respond to being out coached, and that chess game, see who's a move or two or three ahead of the other guy and how quickly it takes one of them to catch up to the other. That's what's fun.
Yeah, as a Bengals fan, I've seen my coach get out coached for a good 13, 14 years. He's still got a job. Yeah, it's real funny, guys.
So I guess you're not going to wear a Bengals outfit for Halloween, huh?
I don't wear Bengals outfits. Number one, I'm a grown-ass man, so I don't wear outfits. I don't know what the hell you wear in Mountain West country there, Coop.
A thong, brother. It's a thong.
Outfit for Mike.
Do you wear outfits? Do you get up in the morning and ask your wife, hey, can you get me an outfit?
No, but I dress professionally, not in my gym shorts.
But you...
Well,
what are you saying, that I wear shorts all the time?
Game and see you as the barrel man.
That's all the pictures I see you in on your Facebook.
No, because any coaching picture I got pants on.
Well, it's because you got
And
bird
why
legs.
are you looking at all my pictures on Facebook? That's kind of creepy. Do you agree, Matt? Aaron, you got anything to say about that? I never get on another man's Facebook and look at all these pictures and think, oh, he only wears shorts. How about you, Brian?
I've never done that, but more importantly, I'm wondering, why is he looking at your shorts?
I know.
Why is he looking at your Facebook page?
Yeah, Coop, come on.
Because it's laughable.
What's laughable about it? The fact that I wear shorts?
No, you got bird legs.
I definitely do not have bird legs, do I, Schmidt?
You're looking at his legs.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
I've flown kites. I've flown kites with bigger strings than you've got legs.
Okay, my legs are just as big as your legs because all my weight's in my thighs because I'm like a grown-ass man, Coop. Ain't that right, Schmitty? Don't I have big thighs, Schmitty?
This conversation has gone downhill.
Schmitty, don't I have big thighs, though?
I don't look at your
Haven't
thighs.
you been looking at his thighs?
I don't look at your thighs.
Come on, how can you see my thighs
That's
through
a
my
setup.
shorts anyways? I don't wear tight shorts,
Come on,
Coop.
Schmitty. When he wears his outfit, you look
My
at his
outfit.
thighs.
Now, I'm not saying outfit.
Staying
Matt
far
wants
away
Star
from this
Wars.
conversation.
Your leopard print outfit.
Schmitty,
See
how
how
you
quickly
doing
I
over
turned
there,
this
buddy?
show to
Staying far away from this conversation.
So, Coop, you don't wear shorts?
Me too.
Look how quiet everybody got.
I know, Coop. Do you wear shorts? You're making fun of everybody that wears shorts.
Yeah, I'm a grown-ass man.
So you wear shorts. Because grown-ass men wear shorts. They don't wear outfits. And I also prefer hoodies.
Yeah, but you got like you when you're on all your colors. I mean, you're all color coordinated and stuff. So I figured your wife dressed you.
No, it's because and Schmitty can vouch for this. Almost every piece of clothing I own is from a team I've coached. That way all my clothing's free.
That is true.
Thank you.
That is
and
true.
also, I am the only coach in the world that has it written into my contract that I get at least one hoodie.
Who gets a hoodie?
I get a hoodie. It's in my contract. Am I not correct here, Brian?
Yeah, that is true.
Thank you.
Yep.
I like to wear hoodies and shorts like a grown-ass man, unlike grown-ass men that wear a professional outfit.
Do you wear suspenders and belts?
No. I wear shorts. Why the hell would I wear suspenders and a belt?
Scoop, he's not from West Virginia.
Yeah, or Green Bay.
He's close. Yeah, but he's close.
Hey.
That's a shot at you and Matt both because you both live up there in that back country.
No, I can't. I can't deny where I live, but I don't dress like it.
Yeah, I don't.
So do you wear shorts, Matt?
I do wear shorts.
Okay. Aaron, do you wear shorts?
I'm wearing shorts right now, Packer shorts.
Yeah, I'm in my underwear. But every man right now that's wearing shorts, Mark Cooper just disrespected you. But it's just locker room talk, so it's all right, Coop?
That's right.
And no more. Hey, and let's just make a pact right now on this show that we never call something we wear an outfit again. Can we agree to that?
definitely.
Coop, I think
Done.
you'll agree to that too, right?
Done.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap this up before it goes completely in the gutter, because that's where Brian and Aaron will steer it if I let this keep going. But, Aaron, do you want to let everybody know what's coming up on your Green Bay Packers show this week, since I didn't forget it this week?
Thank you. Yeah, the Titletown Huddle will be recording tomorrow night. We will talk about the Giants win and preview the upcoming Dallas Cowboy game. And it was pretty cool. I got to meet Joe this week. He came over and was going to the game with his father-in-law, so he stopped over and got to meet the co-host. So that was pretty cool.
Was he wearing shorts?
I don't remember what he was wearing. He was wearing a Clay Matthews jersey. I remember that.
A Clay Matthews jersey. I'd never wear anybody's shirt that has the name uttered in mine on the back. Is what my daddy always told me. 49ers show. Matt.
Yeah, tomorrow night, Dexter and I are recording, and we're having a writer for Buffalo Bills website stopping by. So we'll have be talking about the upcoming game and a couple more guests and the upcoming futures and players and stuff. So it'll be good stuff.
All right, and me and Joe Kelly will be back with another edition of the Cincinnati Bengals show. And I'm sure that we will bitch for a good half hour. If you want to hear that, make sure you check out thegrillingtruth.net. We got no Denver Broncos show because Coop refuses to do it. Schmitty, I almost forgot you this week instead of Aaron. Pittsburgh Steelers Weekly show, you and Dwight Stone. What you got up this week?
We've been working on getting some guests, and we might hopefully you might be able to get us one here. And but other than that, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Jets game, and then we're gonna talk about Miami. We also we've been getting into New England already just a little bit, and I think we'll probably hit that a little bit more because early after Miami, two big games, New England, and you got the bye week, and then you've got Baltimore, and so it's a real good opportunity to really create some separation right now. And that, so yeah, it's going to be a big 3-4 weeks for Pittsburgh fans.
Yeah.
Well, let's get Gary Dunn on your show.
That's what I was just going to say. Great minds think alike.
Gary Dunn will get on there for you.
Yeah. Mike, if you don't have his number still, I'll get it for you guys and call him up. He'd love to do that show. You'd have fun.
I think
you guys would love
Matt
him.
sent it to me, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've got it. I know I sent it to him.
I lost his number when my phone went in a crapper like 3 or 4 months ago, which I lost Coop's too, so I couldn't talk to Coop, and I was kind of lonely there. But little did I know he was stalking my Facebook page, or I would have felt like he was a lot closer to me. Also, what else?
That was like 2 years ago.
We got a bunch of other shows too. So make sure you check those out on thegrillingtruth.net. I just drew a blank. We got the CFL Weekly Pick'em show with me, Brian, Oz Davis, and Dieter Brock, former CFL Hall of Fame quarterback. Out of Left Field with Graham McCown and Chris Fury, one of the best baseball shows you'll hear. They've had Adam Burke, the guy that's the host of Baseball Tonight on. You can check that out, grillingtruth.net. Coop, you watch baseball?
Nope.
I find it boring. How about you?
Exactly. It's like watching the grass grow.
I used to like it, though, when I was younger, but I was different.
Well, I will say this, though. Let me say this. Let me take that back. Only that those guys are so good, they make hard plays look easy, and I think that's what makes it a little boring because they're so good.
It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant me and Schmidt are at, and it's a wing restaurant, and they bring the wings out and we eat them. It's really boring to watch because we're so good at it.
That is true. That is
but
true.
After one Jack and Coke, Schmitty will put on a show, though.
I have seen Mike debone a wing in one motion. So.
Hey, Coop, this is not a locker room. People are listening, so let's let that drop.
All right, I gotta go.
Let's just say this: if I was a woman, I'd be one of the most popular women in the world.
I'm worried about both you guys.
All right, let's wrap this up because I think we've now went to the gutter we were trying to avoid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Make sure you check out our main sponsor, Gridiron Mow, at www.gridironmow.com. And like I said, check us out at grillingtruth.net. You can hear us on iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Music, TuneIn, a bunch of other places I can't remember. But Matt remembers, so just drop us an email on grillingtruth@gmail.com, and Matt will let you know what's going on. So for Matt Andruscavage, Brian Schmidt, Aaron Zepnick, Mark Cooper, I am Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.